Science in sleeping, the secret life beneath the deep. Sea journey through the midnight waters. Welcome back to Science in Sleeping. It's always a quiet joy to have you here again, settling into this calm corner of the night, where curiosity drifts as gently as the tide. Tonight, we're going somewhere extraordinary, somewhere few human eyes have ever seen. We're descending beneath the blue surface of our world, into the secret life beneath the deep sea, into a realm where sunlight fades to twilight, and twilight surrenders to an endless midnight, where strange and beautiful creatures glow softly in the dark, and the ocean floor whispers ancient stories that time itself has forgotten. I hope this story helps you drift off gently, or at least gives your mind a calm place to wander while you rest. Here, there's no rush to listen, no need to focus too hard. You don't have to remember any of this. All you need to do is let your breathing slow, let your body grow heavy, and allow your imagination to float like a small, weightless vessel on a vast and tranquil sea. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're listening from tonight and what time it is there. Maybe it's late, sometime between midnight and the edge of tomorrow. Maybe the world outside your window is wrapped in quiet. Maybe you're listening with the lights low, your phone dimmed, your blanket drawn up just enough to feel safe and warm. Wherever you are, this moment is yours. You've made it through the day. And now, it's time to rest. Let go of the to-do lists, the thoughts that circle and circle like restless waves. Let them drift away, one by one, because right now, we're not thinking about what comes next. We're simply drifting, slowly, gently, into the deep. Now settle in. Get comfortable, let your shoulders soften. Feel the quiet rhythm of your breath, matching the rhythm of the ocean, in and out, each breath carrying you deeper, each exhale taking you closer to calm. Imagine yourself standing on the edge of a moonlit shore, the horizon a silvery line between water and sky, the air cool, tinged with salt, the waves rolling in with a slow, steady heartbeat. You can hear the hush of the sea, a timeless whisper, a promise of something vast and hidden beneath. Now, as the night grows deeper, we begin our descent, a journey through layers of darkness and discovery. From the shallow shimmer of coral gardens to the silent plains of the abyss, from glowing plankton to colossal shadows drifting through the gloom. This is where life began, and where it still thrives, in secret, a world untouched by sunlight, shaped by pressure and time, a world that has existed quietly for millions of years. So close your eyes, let the sound of the sea cradle your thoughts, and as we drift down together, beneath the waves, beneath the noise of the waking world, you may feel yourself relaxing. You may even begin to drift. That's perfectly fine. That's what this story is here for. Now, let's begin our journey into the midnight waters. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to drift down through the deep blue, past the point where sunlight begins to fade, where the colors of the world start to dissolve into soft shades of gray and indigo, until everything you know about light and color simply disappears? Have you ever imagined what secrets might lie hidden beneath the surface in a realm so vast, so silent that it holds more life than all the forests and skies above, yet remains one of the least explored places on Earth? Picture yourself standing at the edge of that quiet ocean, the night air cool and heavy with salt, the horizon silvered by moonlight, you take a slow breath, listening to the rhythmic hush of waves against the shore. Each sound feels ancient, a lullaby written long before memory. The water shimmers in the dark, like liquid glass, and when you take a step closer, you feel the pull of the sea, a soft invitation to let go. The world behind you grows smaller as you wade in, the gentle surf brushing your legs. Then, with a final deep breath, you begin to sink, slowly, gracefully, descending into the cool embrace of the deep. The descent through the ocean is like falling through time. The first few meters are bright and filled with life. Tiny fish scatter like shards of light. Coral reefs bloom beneath you, like living cities, vibrant, bustling, endlessly moving. Here, sunlight dances in ripples, broken by waves and reflected in scales of silver and gold. But within minutes, the light begins to fade. Reds vanish first, then oranges, then yellows, until only blues and greens remain. At around 200 meters, you've reached the twilight zone, where light weakens and the ocean begins to feel vast and endless. This layer, known as the mesopelagic zone, is where day and night blur together. The pressure builds, the temperature drops, and the water turns cold. Here, creatures have learned to adapt in ways that feel almost magical. Some produce their own light through a process called bioluminescence, a gentle glow that illuminates the darkness like stars scattered in the sea. Did you know that nearly 90% of deep sea life uses light in some way, not just to see, but to communicate, to hunt, and even to hide? Small fish called lanternfish, drifting like living constellations, use their glow to camouflage themselves, matching the dim light filtering from above. Deeper still, beyond 1,000 meters, we enter the midnight zone. Here, sunlight never reaches. The water is pitch black, cold, and heavy with silence. Yet even here, life thrives. Perhaps the deep's most iconic inhabitant, carries a luminous lure that dangles from its head. A tiny lantern to draw prey closer. Its teeth are long and translucent, perfectly shaped to trap whatever comes near. There are creatures like the gulper eel, with a mouth so large it can swallow fish its own size, and the vampire squid, whose name sounds terrifying but who drifts softly through the water, feeding on falling snow, tiny particles of organic matter sinking from the surface above. Every layer of the deep is a new world with its own rules. In the abyssal plains, nearly 4 kilometers below the surface, temperatures hover just above freezing. The pressure is so immense that human lungs would collapse instantly. Yet, astonishingly, life continues to adapt. There are worms that live in boiling vents, crabs that feed on chemical energy, and entire ecosystems that survive without sunlight at all. Instead of photosynthesis, they use cheosynthesis, converting minerals and gases from volcanic vents into energy. This means that life can exist even in complete darkness, powered by the heat of the earth itself. It's humbling to think that when we gaze at the sea from the shore, we're only seeing a fraction of what's really there. More than 80% of the ocean remains unexplored. The deep sea is our planet's final frontier, a place as alien as the moons of Jupiter. And yet, it's right beneath our feet. The creatures living there are living time capsules, reminders of Earth's earliest life, and glimpses of what might exist on distant worlds. As you drift deeper in thought, the quiet around you begins to feel eternal. The hum of machines, the noise of cities, even the beating of your own heart seems to fade. You are surrounded by water, dark, calm, endless. The ocean is not just a place. It is a feeling, a mirror of the subconscious. Vast and unknowable, here in the depths. Time stretches, moments dissolve, and what remains is only stillness. A kind of peace that feels ancient and kind. Perhaps that's why the ocean draws us in, even in our dreams. It reminds us of where life began in liquid silence. Billions of years ago, every heartbeat, every breath, still carries the rhythm of the tide. The same pulse that shaped the world continues to echo within us. The ocean, in its mystery, is not separate from us. It is us, our history, our origin, our reflection. And as you float now, somewhere between wakefulness and sleep, let that idea settle in you like a wave finding shore. You are part of this grand, breathing planet, connected to the deepest currents and the oldest songs. The sea, in all its quiet power, is simply reminding you of that truth. Now, as we rise gently from the depths, carried by invisible currents, we'll drift toward another hidden world, one even stranger, where volcanoes burn beneath the sea and life glows like embers in the dark. But for now, stay still, let your thoughts drift, and listen to the slow heartbeat of the ocean. It's been waiting for you all this time. Beneath the waves, you said. Have you ever wondered what burns beneath the ocean floor? What fires could possibly exist under such crushing weight and frozen dark? Have you ever imagined that deep within the coldest waters on Earth, there are mountains that breathe, volcanoes that erupt without sound, and rivers that flow not with water, but with molten heat? It sounds impossible. Fire beneath ice, heat beneath the deepest cold. Yet that's exactly what lies hidden in the heart of the abyss. Picture yourself drifting slowly downward once more. Deeper than before, deeper than light can reach. The water around you is black, but it doesn't feel empty. It hums, softly, like the distant echo of thunder. You sense movement, vast and patient, the slow turning of the planet itself. The pressure here is immense, enough to crush steel. But you feel weightless, safe, carried gently by invisible currents. You can almost see the seafloor now, an endless plain of darkness, stretching out in all directions. But wait ahead, a faint glow. Not from creatures this time, but from the earth itself. It shimmers like embers beneath glass, a ghostly orange light flickering through the black. And then you see it, a hydrothermal vent, a towering chimney of rock and minerals, exhaling smoke into the sea. The water rushing from its mouth is scalding, rich with chemicals, and yet, around it, life is thriving. Giant tube worms bloom like pale red flowers, their plumes waving in the chemical current. Blind shrimp scurry along the rocks, glowing faintly in the vent's warmth. Crabs with ghost-white shells crawl over the steaming ground, feeding on bacteria that grow in the mineral-rich water. It feels like you've stumbled into an alien world, a secret ecosystem hidden from the sun for millions of years. Scientists call these places black smokers and white smokers, depending on the minerals they release. Black smokers belch iron and sulfur, creating plumes that rise like smokestacks into the abyss. White smokers, gentler and ghost-like, exhale calcium and barium. Each vent can reach temperatures over 700 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than boiling water, yet only a few meters away. The ocean remains near freezing. It's a paradox, a world of extremes that somehow sustains balance. Did you know that these hydrothermal vents were first discovered in 1977 off the Galapagos Rift? Until that moment, scientists believed that all life depended on sunlight, that photosynthesis was the foundation of everything living on Earth. But when researchers sent a submersible to the deep ocean floor, they found life not powered by the sun, but by the heat and minerals of the Earth itself. This discovery changed everything. It meant that life could exist anywhere, even on other planets, if the right chemistry and energy were present. As you hover near the vent, you can almost feel the ancient power of the planet's heartbeat. The heat you see comes from deep within the Earth's crust, from magma chambers that pulse and churn, shaping the seabed with slow, relentless force. The ocean floor here is not still. It's alive, shifting and growing, constantly being created anew by spreading ridges where tectonic plates drift apart. Imagine that, beneath the calm surface of the sea, continents are moving inch by inch over molten rock. It's as if the Earth itself breathes in geological time, exhaling new worlds beneath the waves around you. The water swirls with minerals that sparkle faintly like dust in a beam of light. The bacteria feeding on these chemicals form the base of an entire food chain. They create energy, not from light, but from chemical reactions, a process called chemosynthesis. It's here that scientists found a clue to one of humanity's oldest mysteries, the origin of life. Some believe that the first living organisms were born in vents like these, billions of years ago, sheltered by the deep, fed by heat, and sparked into existence by the alchemy of minerals and water. There is a sense of awe in this realization, a feeling that you're watching the beginning of everything. The tube worms, the shrimp, the crabs, they are the descendants of life's earliest whispers. They survive without sunlight, without plants, without air, in an environment humans can only visit with machines. Yet they endure, quietly and beautifully, like an ancient secret kept by the sea. The current shifts, and you drift further along the ridge, past another vent, then another, each one different, some glowing with blue light, others shrouded in dark smoke. You can almost feel the temperature changes as you move, waves of warmth brushing past like ghostly hands. The vents hum and hiss softly, a slow symphony of steam and stone. Every sound echoes through the deep like a heartbeat under pressure. It's easy to forget that above you lies the entire ocean, miles of water pressing down. Beyond that, the surface, the world of air and light and human noise. It feels impossibly far away now. The world above could be another planet. Here, there are no storms, no wind, only the quiet, eternal rhythm of the earth itself. And yet, even in this peace, there's a quiet suspense, a reminder that the sea is alive and unpredictable. These vents can collapse without warning, their chimneys crumbling as the seafloor shifts. New vents erupt suddenly, spewing heat and chemicals into the black. Entire ecosystems vanish overnight, replaced by new ones born from the same fire. Life here is both fragile and unstoppable, always adapting, always finding a way. In this endless dance of destruction and creation, you see a reflection of your own existence. The deep sea is a reminder that growth often begins in darkness, that even under immense pressure, life continues to bloom. It reminds you that warmth can exist even in the coldest places, that light, even chemical light, will always find a way to shine. You take one last look at the glowing vents, the living pillars of steam and stone, and feel a quiet calm. The scene feels sacred, like witnessing the planet's oldest ritual, a ceremony that has been repeating for eons without an audience. You let yourself float upward, carried gently by invisible currents, leaving behind the heat, the smoke, and the strange, beautiful creatures of the deep. As you rise, the darkness thickens again, swallowing the faint light of the vents below, but the warmth lingers within you, a quiet memory of what burns beneath. Soon, you'll drift toward another mystery, a realm where sound replaces sight, where the language of the sea is spoken not in color or light, but in song. For now, breathe and let the deep cradle you in its endless calm. The fire beneath the sea still burns, quietly, eternally, and somewhere above, the stars shimmer, distant reflections of the same light that once began here in the dark heart of the ocean. Have you ever wondered what the ocean sounds like when no one is there to hear it? Have you ever imagined the vast silence beneath the waves, broken only by echoes that travel farther than the speed of thought, by sounds older than language, by songs that may have begun before humankind could dream? In the deep sea, where light cannot reach, sound becomes everything. It is the voice of the world's most secret creatures, and the only way they can find each other across the dark. Picture yourself floating now in an infinite twilight, neither rising nor sinking, suspended in calm water, so still it feels like space. Above, the faint shimmer of light is long gone. Below, the abyss stretches endlessly, but around you, the water hums, soft and low, like the breath of a sleeping planet. Then you hear it, a faint pulse, distant but distinct, resonant note that seems to come from everywhere at once. It's not mechanical, not human, but alive, ancient. It vibrates through your chest like thunder heard through a dream. You are hearing the language of the deep. The ocean, though silent to our ears, is one of the loudest environments on Earth. Sound travels nearly 5 times faster underwater than through air. Each vibration, each click, each moan can travel for hundreds, sometimes thousands. In this vast and sightless realm, communication depends entirely on sound. The deep is a world built not of color and shape, but of echo and resonance. Long before sonar, before ships, the ocean already spoke in waves and whispers. Whales, the singers of the sea, filled the water with their voices, songs so low and powerful they can pass through entire ocean basins. Did you know that the call of a blue whale can reach 188 decibels, louder than a jet engine, and can travel across an entire hemisphere? Yet to the human ear it sounds soft, distant, almost mournful, like the memory of something enormous and kind. Scientists believe these songs are not just communication, but maps. Whales navigate using the echoes of their own voices. bouncing sound off underwater mountains, trenches, and currents. It's a form of echolocation, the ocean's version of vision. Imagine that, a creature seeing with sound, moving through darkness, guided by the shape of its own song. Humpback whales compose intricate melodies that change every season, passed between distant pods like cultural stories. Each population sings its own version, and sometimes new songs spread like ripples across the world. But whales aren't the only ones who speak in the deep. The ocean is alive with hidden music. Sperm whales click with extraordinary precision, creating patterns so complex they resemble Morse code. Some scientists think these clicks could represent a kind of primitive language, not just signals, but words. Orcas use distinct dialects. Each pod has its own set of calls, passed down through generations, a family language in sound. And then there are the snapping shrimp, tiny creatures that create explosions of sound with their claws, loud enough to confuse sonar. The ocean floor, far from silent, is a constant symphony, crackles, groans, whistles, rumbles, the living heartbeat of the deep. There are also sounds no one can explain. In 1997, scientists recorded a mysterious underwater noise they called the bloop, a deep, resonant rumble picked up by hydrophones thousands of miles apart. It was so loud that for years people speculated it might come from a gigantic unknown creature, something larger than any whale. Later, it was traced to the sound of icebergs fracturing in the Antarctic waters. But the idea that the deep might hide voices we still don't recognize remains strangely comforting. The ocean keeps its secrets, and perhaps that's what makes it feel alive. Even the earth itself hums beneath the sea. Along the seafloor, tectonic plates grind and shift, releasing infrasound, vibrations too low for us to hear, but powerful enough to circle the globe. Submarine volcanoes roar silently, bubbles rise from cracks like whispers, and currents sing as they move through underwater valleys. Every motion, every shift of pressure creates a note in this unseen symphony. It's as though the planet itself is alive and breathing beneath the waves. Close your eyes and listen now. You can hear it all if you imagine the rhythmic song of whales, the soft clicking of dolphins, the distant groan of tectonic plates moving like ancient beasts. The sea speaks in tones of longing and wonder. Every sound has a purpose: to find a mate, to locate food, to map the world, or to keep a fragile thread of connection alive. Sound in the deep is life itself. Without it, there would be no way to navigate, no way to survive. It's the heartbeat of existence, the invisible web that holds the ocean together. And as you float there, listening, you begin to realize that this language, this music, has been playing since before our ancestors walked on land. The same vibrations that once guided early whales still echo through the water today, a living link between past and present. And perhaps that's why the ocean feels so hypnotic when you listen to it. Even the simple rhythm of waves against the shore carries the memory of those ancient songs. When you fall asleep to the sound of the sea, you're listening to something older than humanity, the lullaby of a planet still singing to itself. In this stillness, time feels suspended, the sounds blurred together, a deep, soothing resonance that vibrates through every cell in your body. It's both haunting and comforting. A reminder that silence does not mean emptiness, that even in the quietest moments, there are symphonies unfolding just beyond our perception. Now imagine the creatures following those sounds. Whale mothers guiding their calves through the dark, giant squids rising from the depths to hunt, dolphins weaving patterns of echo through coral canyons, everything in motion, everything connected through vibration. It's like a dance choreographed by sound itself. And as you drift further, deeper, into this underwater concert, you realize something. The ocean's voice is not so different from your own heartbeat. Steady, rhythmic, a pulse of life moving through water. The world above is filled with noise, traffic, voices, screens, but here in the deep, every sound has meaning, every note belongs. So breathe slowly. Let the sounds of the deep wrap around you like soft music. You are part of this endless conversation between sea and sky, between creature and current, between the earth and the stars. The ocean doesn't forget. It remembers everything. It carries the echoes of whales, the rumble of shifting stones, the whisper of waves against shore as we leave this realm of resonance, carried upward once more by the gentle hum of the sea. We'll soon enter another world, one even stranger, where life glows not with light or sound, but with electric energy pulsing through the dark. A place where the ocean itself seems to breathe with blue fire. But for now, let your thoughts drift in rhythm with the tide. Feel the vibration of the deep sea fading softly into silence. And let that silence cradle you. The ocean will keep singing long after you've fallen asleep. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to see light born in darkness? Not the harsh light of the surface sun, but a gentler, otherworldly glow. One that blooms from living creatures in the deepest, blackest parts of the sea. Have you ever imagined drifting through a world where the night itself shimmers, where every movement, every heartbeat leaves a trail of starlight behind? In the deep sea, light has a different meaning. It's not a gift from the sky, it's a secret language of survival, beauty, and illusion. Imagine now that you are sinking again, slowly and silently, through the ocean's dark layers. The sound of the world above has faded, replaced by a stillness so deep you can almost hear your own pulse echo in the water. The darkness feels endless, heavy, absolute, until, somewhere in the distance, a spark appears. It's small at first. A flicker, no larger than a firefly, then another appears, and another, until the water around you begins to glow softly. A slow explosion of light that seems to breathe with the sea itself. You are surrounded by bioluminescence, the ocean's most magical illusion. It is light made not by fire or electricity, but by life. Tiny organisms, drifting like dust in the water, pulse with a pale blue radiance. When they move, they leave trails of shimmering light, as though the sea itself were writing in cursive upon the dark. The effect is hypnotic, a silent storm of stars swirling around you. Every blink of light, a story, every flash, a message. Bioluminescence is one of the most fascinating adaptations in nature. It's created through a chemical reaction inside the bodies of certain marine organisms, a reaction between a light-producing molecule called an enzyme called luciferase, and oxygen. The result is a soft, steady glow, sometimes blue, sometimes green, and occasionally red, depending on the species. But unlike sunlight, This glow gives off no heat. It's called cold light, pure and efficient, crafted perfectly for survival in the deep. Did you know that more than 75% of deep-sea creatures can produce light in some form? Some use it to attract prey, others to find mates, and some to vanish into the darkness. For example, the anglerfish, with its haunting silhouette and glowing lure, dangles its bioluminescent bait just above its mouth, tempting curious prey close enough to be swallowed whole. The dragonfish has a red bioluminescent beam beneath its eyes, invisible to most other creatures, allowing it to hunt unseen. And then there's the hatchetfish, whose underside glows to match the faint light from above, making it nearly invisible to predators looking up from below. It's camouflage made of light, the ultimate trick in a world of shadows. Far above, in shallower waters, there are moments when the ocean itself seems to come alive. When waves crash or the water is stirred, glowing plankton, called dinoflagellates, lighting up the sea like liquid lightning. Imagine standing on a midnight beach, watching waves that glow blue with every break, every footprint leaving a trace of light before fading back into black. It's one of the rare moments when the surface world glimpses the beauty of the deep. But down here, miles beneath that glittering shoreline, bioluminescence isn't just beautiful, it's a matter of life and death. Some creatures use it to mimic others, to lure, to confuse, to hide. The cookie-cutter shark, small but fierce, uses light to blend in with the faint glow above. Only its unlit underside betrays its silhouette. And when a larger animal swims close, it darts upward and bites, taking a perfect circular chunk from its prey before vanishing again. There are even creatures that use light to communicate, entire colonies of glowing jellyfish pulsing in rhythm. Like an orchestra in the dark, they flash and fade, sending signals through patterns of brightness. The deep sea becomes a galaxy of living stars, each one sending silent messages across the water. It's impossible not to feel wonder drifting among them, watching them dance through the blackness, and yet there's something haunting about it too. This light is fragile, temporary. It flickers and fades, often lasting only seconds before it vanishes, leaving nothing but darkness behind. But maybe that's what makes it so mesmerizing. It's beauty born from necessity, a miracle shaped by pressure and survival. For centuries, sailors told stories of glowing seas, of ships that left trails of light as they cut through the night. Some believed it was magic, others the souls of the drowned. Today we know the science, the chemistry of life and oxygen, yet the wonder remains. The sea glows not because it must, but because life, even in darkness, always finds a way to shine. Scientists studying bioluminescence have found connections to our own world too. The same proteins used by glowing jellyfish have become tools in modern medicine, helping researchers trace cells and study the human body. From the darkest waters to the brightest laboratories, the light of the deep has found its way to us. A gift from creatures that most of us will never see. But here, in this vast underwater night, you don't need to think of science or data. You can simply float, watching the glow drift past like galaxies in slow motion. The currents move softly, carrying glowing plankton and transparent jellyfish in waves of living color. The light ripples across your vision, painting the darkness in delicate shades of blue and silver, you begin to feel weightless again. As though time has dissolved, the lights flicker and fade. And in that fading, there's peace. The ocean doesn't rush, it glows, breathes, and then returns to stillness, and in its rhythm, you can feel your own heartbeat slowing, matching the pulse of the deep. Perhaps that's the real lesson of bioluminescence. It reminds us that light doesn't need to be loud or constant to matter. It can exist quietly in the depths, shining only when needed. It's a lesson in resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, something beautiful can emerge as you drift upward through the glowing dark. The last lights fade behind you, like stars vanishing at dawn. You carry their memory with you, tiny echoes of light, soft as breath, ancient as the sea itself. Ahead, the water begins to move differently. You sense vibrations through the current, distant but powerful, a slow pulse that feels alive. It's not light this time, but motion as you rise. You'll find yourself drawn toward the ocean's most mysterious travelers, vast, silent giants that move like shadows through the deep, creatures so immense and graceful that their presence reshapes the very water around them. But for now, rest in the glow of the deep. Let the light fade from your mind until only calm remains. The sea has shared one of its oldest secrets, light born in darkness, a promise that even the night carries its own stars. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to stand beside a creature older than the continents, something that has glided through the ocean since the dawn of time, long before the first forests rose from the land? Before even the dinosaurs took their first breath? Have you ever imagined drifting beside an ancient being so large and silent that it feels less like an animal and more like the memory of the ocean itself? Tonight, we descend deeper once again, not into the glowing realm of light, but into the slow and solemn kingdom of the giants. The water grows colder here, the pressure immense, and the light from above has long faded into nothingness. It's a place of stillness and shadow, where sound travels like thought, slow, distant, eternal. You float through the darkness, guided only by faint vibrations through the water, and then, in the distance, you sense movement, vast, deliberate. A shadow passes beneath you, stretching farther than your eyes can follow. For a moment you think it's a trick of the light, an illusion created by the shifting currents, but then it moves again, a single, graceful sweep of a tail, so powerful that it stirs the water around you like wind through fog. The shape emerges from the dark, silent but immense. It's a sperm whale, the largest predator on Earth, an ancient diver of impossible depths. These giants can plunge over 2,000 meters beneath the waves, farther than any other mammal, into regions of darkness, so complete that light has never touched them. Down there, they hunt the most elusive of prey, the giant squid, a creature of myth and mystery. Imagine it, a battle unfolding in the crushing blackness, where sound is the only witness. The whale, guided by its sonar clicks, moves like a living submarine, each pulse of sound painting an invisible picture of its surrounding. The squid, with its long, thrashing tentacles, waits in silence, hidden in the murk. The encounter is sudden, violent, and unseen by human eyes. But sometimes, when the whales return to the surface, their skin bears the marks of the struggle, long, pale scars that tell of wars fought Sperm whales are more than hunters. They are record keepers of the deep. Each one can live over 70 years, traveling thousands of miles through every ocean on Earth. They communicate in rhythmic clicks known as codas, patterns of sound that act like language. Each family has its own dialect, its own song, passed down through generations. It's not just communication, it's culture, an inheritance carried in sound. When a whale sings beneath the waves, the song travels for miles, a voice that crosses oceans. It's slow, deliberate, almost meditative. And as you drift nearby, you can feel it vibrate through the water, through your chest like a heartbeat. It's as if the sea itself is humming a lullaby. Did you know that sperm whales can hold their breath for up to 90 minutes? Their blood carries oxygen more efficiently than ours. Their muscles rich in a molecule called myoglobin, which stores oxygen for long dives. When they descend, their heart rate slows to conserve energy, a steady, rhythmic pulse echoing through the deep. And in that stillness, they drift through a world we can barely imagine. But these giants do not travel alone. They move in pods, close family groups led by older females, the matriarchs. These wise leaders guide the pod across vast distances, teaching the young where to feed, where to migrate, and how to navigate the endless dark. Each calf stays by its mother's side for years, learning the language of the deep one click at a time. There's something deeply emotional about the way whales live. When one member of a pod dies, the others do not leave immediately. They circle the body, touching it gently with their fins, as if in mourning. Sometimes they carry the body for days, refusing to let go. It's a reminder that intelligence in the ocean is not just survival, it's connection, empathy, memory. Now imagine the world from their eyes, or rather, their sonar, for whales see not with light, but with sound. Every click they send out bounces off the world and returns, painting a three-dimensional picture in their minds. They can feel the size, shape, and even the density of distant objects. To them, the sea is a symphony of echoes, a constantly shifting portrait made of sound. Some scientists believe whales may even dream through sound, replaying the songs of their lives as they drift in sleep. In a way, it's similar to how humans dream in pictures and memories. For whales, perhaps, dreams are made of vibrations, soft ripples of memory moving through dark water. In ancient times, sailors spoke of whales as living islands. They told stories of men landing on their backs, mistaking them for land, before the creature dove beneath the sea. Dragging ships into the abyss, they feared and revered them, never fully understanding that beneath that massive power lay something gentle, almost sacred. There's an awe that comes from being near something so vast, so alive, yet so silent. The whale doesn't need to prove its strength. It carries it effortlessly, a living relic of evolution's patience. To watch one rise from the depths is to witness a miracle of breath itself. After an hour below, it surfaces, breaking through the waves with a low, thunderous exhale. Steam and water burst into the cold air, glowing like mist in the moonlight. For a moment, you float in stillness, watching it linger there. The whale's eye meets yours, ancient.com, curious. It feels like looking into the memory of the ocean, something older than human thought, older than light itself. And then, just as quietly as it came, it sinks again, disappearing into the black. The echoes of its clicks fade, replaced by silence. The sea feels emptier without it, as though a thought has passed through and gone. Whales remind us that power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it hums softly in the dark. They teach us about patience, endurance, and the beauty of slow existence. In their rhythm, we can hear the heart of the ocean itself, steady and eternal as you drift upward once more. The deep begins to lighten, faint hues of blue returning to the water. The currents grow warmer, more alive. You sense movement around you, flashes of silver, schools of smaller creatures gathering in swirling patterns. The giants of the deep fade behind you, but their songs remain, echoing softly in your memory. Ahead lies another wonder, a realm not of giants or glowing mysteries, but of architecture, colonies, and silent intelligence. A city of coral, living and breathing beneath the waves, intricate and colorful even in the dim light. The journey now moves toward the hidden cities of the sea, where life builds kingdoms out of calcium and time. But before you go, take one last breath in this silence. Feel the slow, steady rhythm of the deep still within you, the pulse of the whale, the heartbeat of the ocean, both ancient, both alive, both waiting in the dark. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to wander through a living city that never sleeps? A place built not by human hands, but by the smallest architects on earth. Have you ever imagined drifting through towers made of coral, arches shaped by time, and streets alive with the glow of countless tiny creatures, each movement, each shimmer, each pulse of color forming part of a vast and intricate symphony beneath the waves? Tonight, we drift toward one of the most mesmerizing places in the ocean, the coral reefs, often called the rainforests of the sea. These dazzling structures stretch for miles across the ocean floor, home to nearly a quarter of all marine life, and yet they are built by creatures so small you could hold hundreds on the tip of your finger. It feels impossible that something so vast and beautiful could rise from something so tiny, and yet here, beneath the rolling waves, the impossible becomes real. Picture yourself descending gently through warm, turquoise water. The light from above filters down like golden silk, dancing and shimmering in ripples across your skin as you sink lower. Shapes begin to emerge, soft silhouettes that sharpen into color. Suddenly, the world bursts into life. Coral towers rise around you like the spires of an underwater cathedral, glowing in pinks, blues, and golds. Schools of fish dart through arches and tunnels like flocks of birds through clouds. The water hums with motion, the soft crackle of shrimp, the whisper of currents, the pulse of hidden life. Coral reefs are living structures, vast colonies made up of billions of individual organisms called polyps. Each one is a tiny, translucent creature with delicate tentacles that reach into the water to catch drifting food. But together they form massive limestone skeletons, slowly building upon each generation's remains. Layer by layer, century after century, they never rush, never compete. They simply grow quietly, persistently, shaping entire ecosystems through patience. What makes coral truly magical, though, is its partnership with another tiny form of life, a microscopic algae called zooxanthellae. These algae live inside the coral's tissues, sharing their food through photosynthesis. The coral gives them shelter. The algae give them color and energy. It's a perfect exchange. A quiet harmony that has lasted millions of years. In this underwater city, every creature has a role. Small, cleaner fish flit between the mouths of larger fish, removing parasites in a delicate dance of trust. Crabs hide within coral crevices, acting as tiny caretakers, brushing away sediment that might smother the coral's surface. Octopuses change color to match their blending so perfectly that you might swim right past them without ever knowing. But beneath this serenity lies a world of quiet tension. For life here depends on balance, temperature, light, salinity, and chemistry. All must align perfectly. When the water grows too warm, the algae that feed and color the coral begin to flee, leaving behind pale, ghostly skeletons. This process, called coral bleaching, is one of the ocean's most haunting transformations. The reefs lose their vibrancy, their hum, their glow, and if the warmth persists too long, the coral can die. Imagine it, a city turning to dust in silence. Towers collapsing, not with thunder, but with whispers. The fish scatter, the colors fade, and what remains is only bone-white emptiness. It's as though the ocean itself holds its breath, mourning the fading memory of what once was. Yet even in decay, the reef endures. Nature has a way of healing slowly, delicately, like an old painter restoring a masterpiece. When the waters cool again, new polyps settle on the old bones. The algae return, light fills the water once more, and color blooms back to life. Each revival is like rebirth, a reminder that even the most fragile systems can hold astonishing resilience. Did you know that coral reefs can even speak, not in words, but through the language of sound? Divers who listen closely can hear the faint crackle and buzz of shrimp, the drumming of fish, and the subtle hum of movement. This soundscape draws in young fish larvae from miles away, guiding them home. The reef, in its own way, sings itself back to life. Now, picture yourself gliding through the Great Barrier Reef, the largest coral structure on Earth, stretching over 2,300 kilometers. It's so vast it can be seen from space, and yet, most of its architects are smaller than grains of rice. You drift through canyons of color, schools of angelfish swirling around you like ribbons of silk. Sea turtles move slowly through the coral corridors, their shells worn smooth by time. Somewhere nearby, a reef shark glides past, silent, graceful, unhurried. As you move deeper, the reef transforms. The bright corals fade into darker hues, purples and reds that absorb the waning light. Strange shapes emerge from the shadows, sponges like twisted sculptures, sea fans that wave gently like underwater trees. Even here, in the dim light, life thrives in perfect equilibrium. Every current carries nutrients. Every creature plays its part. It's a choreography that has been rehearsed for millions of years. But there's something else about coral reefs, something we're only beginning to understand. Beneath their beauty lies an ancient intelligence, not in the way of thought or emotion, but in design. Coral polyps respond to the moon's cycles, timing their spawning to the rhythm of tides and starlight. Once a year, across entire oceans, reefs release clouds of eggs and sperm all at once, a synchronized event so vast it paints the sea pink and gold. Scientists call it one of the greatest reproductive events on Earth. And yet, it's guided not by clocks or calendars, but by light, by gravity, by instinct that predates history itself. Imagine floating there in the quiet dark as it happens. The water fills with drifting life, glowing faintly under the moon. It feels like watching the universe breathe, every tiny orb a seed of potential, a new beginning waiting to settle on stone and grow. The reef hums around you, alive with renewal. In that moment, you realize the ocean doesn't just hold life. It creates it endlessly, patiently, rhythmically. Each cycle of death and rebirth weaving another thread into the great tapestry of existence. As you drift back toward the edge of the reef, the water warms again. The corals beneath you shimmer in fading light, a final gift before the darkness deepens. You look back one last time at the city of living stone, radiant, fragile, eternal. The reef fades behind you, its colors dissolving into blue. Ahead, the seafloor begins to slope downward once more, into shadow, into pressure, into mystery. The warmth fades, replaced by the chill of the abyss. And somewhere below, beyond the reach of sunlight, lies another hidden world, a realm shaped by fire instead of light, where the earth itself breathes through the cracks in its crust. Next, we'll descend into the black smokers and hydrothermal vents of the deep, where boiling minerals rise from the seafloor like smoke from unseen chimneys, and where, against all odds, life glows in the fire of creation. For now, breathe deeply, feel the ocean cradle you. Let your thoughts drift like coral spores, carried by the current. The reef sleeps beneath you, dreaming in color, singing softly to the sea, waiting for the next dawn to bloom again. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to stand at the very bottom of the ocean, not swimming, not floating, but simply existing there, in the crushing dark, where sunlight has never reached? Have you imagined what the world might look like? 6, even 7 kilometers beneath the waves, where the earth itself exhales through cracks in its crust, creating towers of smoke, fire, and strange new life. This is not a world of blue and coral, but one of black stone, molten heat, and shimmering shadows. As we drift deeper, the water grows colder, heavier, stiller. The last hints of color vanish. The silence becomes so thick it feels like a weight pressing against your ears. The light from your mind's eye flickers across rocky ridges and ancient plains of darkness. Here, the seafloor stretches like a landscape from another planet, jagged and vast, a place that has never known air or sky. Then, suddenly, in the distance, you see it, a faint glow, a pulse of orange and gold, breaking through the endless black as you move closer. The glow grows stronger until it becomes a forest of towering chimneys rising from the seabed. Each one spews a column of dark, mineral-rich water into the sea, shimmering like smoke underwater. These are the hydrothermal vents, also known as black smokers. They form where tectonic plates meet deep cracks, where the Earth's crust splits open, allowing water to seep down toward molten rock below. There, the water superheats to over 400 degrees Celsius, absorbing metals and chemicals before being blasted back up into the ocean. When it meets the icy water above, those minerals solidify into clouds of black dust, creating the illusion of underwater smoke. But here's the astonishing part. Life thrives here. In this inferno of darkness and pressure, around the base of the vents grow gardens of strange, alien creatures, giant tube worms, over 2 meters long, with bright red plumes that wave gently in the current. Ghostly crabs with no eyes, feeling their way through chemical clouds. Pale shrimp that cluster in the hundreds, glowing faintly as they feed on bacteria. It's a world built not on sunlight, but on chemistry. These creatures survive through a process called chemosynthesis instead of sunlight. Bacteria here use chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, the gas that gives rotten eggs their smell, to create energy. It's the same process that supports every ecosystem on Earth. Only here, it happens in the dark, powered not by stars, but by the planet's molten heart. It's humbling to realize that life can exist in places where, by all logic, it shouldn't. The water here is toxic to most known species. The pressure enough to crush a submarine, the temperature shifting wildly between freezing and boiling. Yet somehow, against every expectation, this is where some of the oldest and most resilient life forms on Earth make their home. Scientists now believe that hydrothermal vents might have been where life first began, billions of years ago, before there was sunlight or oxygen, before even the first continents had formed. Here, in the mineral-rich darkness, the first cells may have emerged, tiny bubbles of chemistry that learned to copy themselves, to grow, to evolve. In these vents, Earth breathed life into its own oceans. As you drift closer, the sight is mesmerizing. The black plumes rise like smokestacks in the dark, glowing faintly with reflected minerals. It's both eerie and beautiful, like standing before a living volcano, but instead of destruction, it creates. The water shimmers with golden flecks, drifting upward like embers in slow motion. The floor around the vents is covered in delicate layers of sulfur crystals. Shining like frost, you move between the towers, each one taller than a building. The sound of the vents is deep and low, a constant rumble beneath the silence. Every so often, a burst of bubbles escapes from a crack, shimmering upward before vanishing into the cold dark above. Among these vents, life unfolds in strange forms. The Riftia tube worms have no mouths, no stomachs, yet they survive. Inside them live symbiotic bacteria that convert chemicals into nutrients. In exchange, the worms provide shelter together. They've built a quiet empire around the vents, thriving in harmony with heat and poison. Nearby, a white crab scuttles over the rocks, its claws glowing faintly as it brushes sulfur dust from its path. It pauses, sensing vibrations in the water. There are predators here too, ghostly eels, deep-sea and strange, transparent fish that glide silently through the smoke, their bodies so thin they seem carved from glass. Everywhere you look, the water seems alive with shimmer and movement. You realize that though it looks like darkness, this place is not empty. It's teeming with energy. The vents pulse in rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. The earth itself seems to breathe, exhaling warmth and minerals into the cold void. There's something awe-inspiring about this place, not just because it's alien, but because it feels so ancient. The same forces that drive volcanoes and earthquakes on the surface are at work here. In silence, in the dark, constantly shaping the planet from below. You're witnessing the Earth's hidden furnace, the place where continents are born, where elements are forged, where life began. And yet, this world is fragile, too. Just a few degrees of temperature change, a shift in tectonic activity, or pollution from above can disrupt the balance that has existed for eons. Humans have already begun mining near some vents for rare metals. The thought feels almost blasphemous, as if we are disturbing a sacred, sleeping heart as you hover there, surrounded by smoke. It feels as though you're standing in a temple. Each vent a pillar, each flicker of heat a candle. The creatures move slowly, reverently, as if aware of the power that sustains them. The silence is so deep you can almost hear the world turning, and then, just as you begin to drift away, something catches your eye, a movement in the farthest shadow. Larger than the rest, you turn, trying to make out its shape. It glides effortlessly between the vents. Long and sinuous, its skin glows faintly blue in the dark. Its eyes reflect the shimmer of molten light for a moment. It feels as though you're being watched, not by a predator, but by something ancient, patient, curious. The creature vanishes as quickly as it appeared, slipping behind a wall of smoke, leaving only bubbles in its wake. You're left with the unsettling yet comforting thought that the deep sea still holds mysteries beyond our reach, things not yet named, not yet understood. As you rise slowly from the vent fields, the water cools, the glow fades, the ocean grows quiet once more. The black plumes below shrink into distant dots of light, like candles in the abyss. Somewhere above, the currents shift, drawing you toward another region of wonder, a place where the seafloor rises into mountain ranges, where rivers of water flow beneath the sea itself, and where vast trenches mark the scars of the planet's slow creation. For now, let yourself drift in silence, listening to the faint echo of the vents below. The heartbeat of the earth still pulses through the water. Steady and eternal, in the deep, there is no time, no noise, no hurry, only the quiet rhythm of creation itself, waiting in the dark. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to stand upon a mountain taller than Everest, yet buried completely beneath the sea? Have you ever imagined walking along a ridge that stretches endlessly across the ocean floor, dividing the planet like a scar of creation? A place where continents are born and the earth is constantly remaking itself. Tonight, we drift into one of the most extraordinary and least seen regions of our planet, the Midichan Ridge, a submerged mountain range that spans the entire globe, more than 60,000 kilometers long. It is the largest continuous geological structure on Earth, and yet almost no human eyes have ever seen it. It's a place of fire and birth, where molten rock rises from the planet's mantle to create new seafloor, where the Earth's hidden heart beats slow and deep. Picture yourself descending into the cold twilight of the deep ocean once more. The last traces of coral and light fade behind you. The water grows dense and still, a heavy blue-black that seems to stretch into infinity. For a long time, there's only silence, and then, beneath the stillness, a faint glow begins to appear. At first, it's only a shimmer, like the edge of dawn through fog, but as you drift closer, you realize it's not sunlight at all. It's the molten fire of the Earth, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. One branch of this immense chain rises from the seafloor in slow, sweeping arcs of basalt rock, black and silver beneath the dim light. Here, magma pushes upward through fractures, cooling instantly in the icy water, forming pillow-like shapes of volcanic glass. It's a slow-motion eruption, an endless cycle of destruction and rebirth. The earth breathes through these ridges, exhaling new crust, renewing the ocean floor. You drift closer to the ridge and feel a strange sensation, the faint vibration of the planet itself, low and constant, like a heartbeat you can feel in your bones. Every few moments, a burst of bubbles escapes from cracks in the stone, rising like ghosts into the dark. The sound is soft and ancient, a whisper of creation along the ridge. There are fields of lava rock, twisted, black and sharp, sculpted by heat and time. Some are smooth and glassy, reflecting the faint light in ripples. Others are jagged and alien, like the frozen surface of another world. It's easy to forget that all of this lies beneath miles of ocean, hidden from the sun for millions of years. But there's more to this ridge than geology. There's life, clinging to every crevice in the cracks and fissures. Strange tube worms, translucent crabs, and ghostly fish thrive, feeding off the minerals that seep from below. The vents here glow faintly with blue-green light, the faint chemical luminescence of life built on stone and heat rather than light. Did you know that if you could follow this ridge from end to end, you would circle the planet? It winds through every ocean, from the Arctic to the Atlantic, from the Indian to the Pacific, splitting continents apart, creating new crust at a rate of about 2 inches per year. That may sound slow, but over time, those 2 inches move mountains, reshape coastlines, and shift the world we live on. This ridge is the Earth's spine, the great seam where the planet renews itself. Every eruption here adds a new layer to the ocean floor. Every quake, every vent, every plume of heat is a reminder that the earth beneath our feet is not dead rock, it's alive. As you glide along the ridge, the terrain changes. You see vast cliffs dropping away into the abyss, deep trenches that mark where plates pull apart. The walls shimmer with metallic deposits, streaks of copper, iron, and sulfur glowing faintly in the light of your descent. The pressure here is immense, crushing beyond comprehension, and yet everything holds together, balanced perfectly between collapse and creation. Suddenly, a tremor passes through the water, a low, rolling rumble that feels more than it sounds. The ridge beneath you shifts slightly, releasing a plume of black smoke from a nearby fissure. The sea around you fills with shimmering heat waves, bending light like air in a desert. You realize you are witnessing the birth of a new piece of earth-molten lava meeting the cold abyss. Freezing in seconds, it's both terrifying and beautiful. A dance between destruction and renewal. The temperature just meters away from the vent could melt metal, but where you hover, the water is freezing. The contrast feels impossible. Fire and ice existing side by side, creation and stillness sharing the same breath in this alien landscape. There is no day or night, no sound of wind or sky, only the pulse of magma beneath rock. Every heartbeat of the ridge sends ripples of energy through the ocean floor, shaping everything above it, currents, climates, even the magnetic field of the Earth itself. Scientists have discovered that as lava cools along the ridge, the iron within it aligns with the planet's magnetic poles, locking in a record of Earth's shifting magnetism over millions of years. It's like reading the diary of the planet. You notice something extraordinary: great walls of mineral crystal rising from the seafloor. Their edges glint with faint light, shimmering in the deep like mirrors. You move closer, and the reflection of your own form shimmers back at you, distorted and otherworldly for a moment. It feels as though the ocean is showing you your own place in its vast memory, small, fleeting, yet somehow infinite. There's a legend whispered among divers and oceanographers of sounds recorded in the depths, unexplainable hums and rumbles that seem to come from nowhere. Some believe they are the voice of the ridge itself, the song of the earth as it breathes and moves in those low, rumbling frequencies. Too deep for human ears lies the pulse of the living world. Imagine listening to that, the slow rhythm of a planet in motion, the sound of continents drifting, mountains forming, oceans dividing. It's a kind of music that no orchestra could ever play, yet it resonates through everything. Every stone, every wave, every heartbeat. You hover there for a long time, feeling the warmth radiate from the cracks below, watching tiny creatures drift past like specks of glowing dust. The ocean here feels endless, ancient, watchful, patient, and yet, even in this desolate place, there's a sense of purpose. Every vent, every fissure, every slow trickle of lava adds something to the greater design. The ocean, the earth, and even time itself seem to weave together in harmony. As you begin to ascend, the glow fades behind you, replaced by the cool stillness of the upper layers. The ridges and vents disappear into the dark, leaving only memory, the slow heartbeat of the earth echoing through the deep. Above you lies another mystery, waiting, a place where gravity bends the sea itself, where colossal trenches cut into the crust like scars of the planet's history. Next, we'll descend into the Mariana Trench, the deepest known point on Earth, a chasm so vast and cold that it could swallow Mount Everest whole, a place where even light seems afraid to go. But for now, let the rhythm of the ridge fade softly in your mind. Breathe slowly, feel the stillness return. The earth has shown you its furnace, its heart, its pulse, and now it invites you to rest in the quiet between beats, drifting deeper into the ocean's eternal calm. Have you ever wondered what lies at the very bottom of our world? Below even the crushing depths where sunlight has never touched, where pressure is so immense it could flatten steel, and yet life still finds a way to whisper through the darkness. Tonight, we drift into that abyss, the Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth, a place so mysterious, so hauntingly silent, that it feels almost sacred. It's the ocean's final secret, a place where time slows, sound fades, and the boundary between life and nothingness blurs like a dream. Picture yourself descending slowly, gently, deeper and deeper through the midnight waters. Above you, the ocean is a living sky, layers of shadow folding over one another, each a shade darker than the last. The faint flickers of bioluminescent creatures fade as you sink below them, leaving only the endless dark. The descent feels eternal. The world above has vanished entirely now. You are falling through silence, through pressure so heavy that even light cannot survive here. At nearly 11 kilometers deep, the Mariana Trench is deeper than Mount Everest is tall. If you were to drop the entire mountain into this abyss, its peak would still be swallowed by nearly 2 kilometers of ocean. Down here, the water presses in with a force of over 1,000 atmospheres, more than 16,000 pounds per square inch. It is a world of immense gravity and stillness, where life moves at the slowest possible rhythm, as if conserving its breath for eternity, and yet, impossibly, there is life. You reach the seafloor, a barren, alien plain of fine silt that stretches as far as the eye can see. It's called the Challenger Deep, named after the HMS Challenger, the ship that first measured its depth in the 19th century. The floor here looks soft, almost like drifting snow, but it's made of the remains of countless microscopic organisms, the dust of life that has fallen slowly through the water over millions of years. As you hover there, tiny movements catch your eye. A ghostly, translucent creature glides by, an amphipod, no larger than your thumb, yet perfectly adapted to survive the unimaginable pressure. Its body is soft, flexible, boneless, a masterpiece of evolution, built to endure what nothing else can. A few meters away, you see a snailfish, pale, gelatinous, almost angelic in form, its fins moving like silk, ribbons in the current. Did you know that these creatures have no air in their bodies at all? No lungs, no swim bladders, nothing that could collapse under pressure. Instead, their tissues are filled with a unique molecule called TMAO, trimethylamine oxide, which stabilizes their cells and prevents them from being crushed. It's the same chemical that gives fish their distinctive ocean scent. Down here, it's not just biology, it's chemistry, refined by time into perfection in the faint glow of your submersible lights. The trench looks still, but listen closely, and you'll feel its movement. The earth trembles here. You are sitting at the boundary of tectonic plates, where the Pacific plate slides beneath the Philippine plate, sinking slowly into the mantle below. This is a place of unimaginable force, where mountains are swallowed whole, and where earthquakes and tsunamis are born. The trench groans softly in the distance, a sound so deep it's felt more than heard. It is the voice of the earth itself, ancient and unending. Your lights sweep across a ridge in the distance, and you see something strange, a field of serpentine formations, shimmering faintly green under the beam. These are mud volcanoes, formed where fluids seep upward through cracks in the crust. They ooze with methane and hydrogen sulfide gases that would be deadly to humans, but here, they are the lifeblood of another ecosystem. Clusters of white bacterial mats cling to the rocks, feeding on those gases. And where bacteria thrive, life follows. Small crustaceans, ghost crabs, and translucent worms drift in slow motion, their bodies adapted to live entirely on chemical energy. It's a process called chemosynthesis, and it's one of nature's greatest miracles. Unlike the forests and oceans above, which depend on sunlight, the creatures here depend entirely on the chemistry of the earth. They eat the planet's breath, the gases that seep from its bones. You pause for a moment, realizing the significance. Life doesn't need the sun. It doesn't need light or warmth or air. It just needs a spark, a place to begin. And that spark can come even from stone and sulfur. The walls of the trench rise like cliffs around you, dark, endless, and scarred by the slow grind of the plates. Somewhere in the blackness, a faint glimmer catches your eye, a flicker of moving light. At first, you think it's reflection, Then it moves again. It's a jellyfish, but unlike any you've seen before. Its body pulses with electric hues, violet, crimson, and gold, like a lantern made of breath. Its tendrils stretch in all directions, tracing delicate lines through the dark. Each pulse illuminates the trench for a fraction of a second, revealing glimpses of the ancient seafloor, the hidden cathedral of the deep. Somewhere above you, a distant rumble echoes the sound of shifting rock miles above. A tremor rolls through the water, gentle but powerful. For a moment, the silt rises around you like a blizzard, clouding everything in sight. When it settles, the trench seems to have changed. You spot an enormous shape ahead, still, massive, indistinct. As you approach, your lights fall upon it, a colossal whale carcass, perfectly preserved in the freezing abyss. Its bones gleam faintly, surrounded by a swarm of ghostly shrimp and hagfish. This is what scientists call a whale fall, a single fallen giant becoming the foundation of an entire ecosystem. A whale fall can sustain life here for up to 100 years. Worms burrow into its bones, bacteria feed on its fats, and strange, eyeless creatures gather to share in the feast. Even in death, the whale gives life. In the deep ocean, nothing is wasted. Everything becomes part of the great cycle: creation, decay, renewal. It's humbling to realize that even the most desolate, silent place on earth is bursting with hidden activity, with purpose, with quiet persistence. The deep sea doesn't scream for attention. It simply endures. It exists in a balance so perfect, so ancient, that even human time feels small beside it. You sit there, watching the slow ballet of creatures weaving through the whale's bones, the faint glow of bacteria painting the seafloor with ghostly light. For a long moment, you forget where you are. The trench feels almost alive, not just with life, but with meaning, and as you slowly ascend once again, the pressure easing, the darkness fading, you can't help but wonder if life can thrive here in total darkness, under crushing weight. In silence and solitude, what else might the universe be hiding in its own deep trenches? Above the trench, in the dim blue waters of the upper deep, lies another mystery waiting for us, a hidden current that moves more water than all the world's rivers combined, shaping the very heartbeat of our planet. Next, we will follow that invisible river, the thermaline circulation, the deep ocean conveyor that connects every sea, every current, every breath of the planet, a current so vast that it binds the world together in motion and time. But for now, let yourself rest in this thought. Even in the deepest darkness, life shines. Even under impossible pressure, something moves, breathes, endures. The ocean's silence is not emptiness, it is peace, ancient and eternal. Have you ever wondered what keeps the oceans alive? What silent force moves through their endless darkness, guiding tides, shaping climates, and sustaining life from the shallowest coral reef to the deepest abyss? Tonight, we follow that hidden river beneath the waves, a current older than civilization, older than the stars we use to navigate. It's called the thermaline circulation, but sailors once knew it as the great ocean conveyor, an unseen heartbeat that connects every sea on Earth. Imagine yourself drifting now at the edge of twilight, the last hints of sunlight dissolving into the deep. The surface sways gently above, like the slow breath of a sleeping world. You begin to descend, slowly, past the realm of bright blues into darker hues of indigo and cobalt. The water cools around you, soft and heavy, until you feel the faintest motion, a slow, deliberate pull, as if something vast and ancient is exhaling beneath you. That is the ocean's pulse, the movement of salt and temperature that drives the circulation of the planet's water. It's almost invisible, but its influence is everywhere. Warm surface currents sweep across the tropics and bring life to cold lands, while deep, cold currents return with nutrients gathered from the abyss. Together, they form a planetary loop that takes nearly 1,000 years to complete a single cycle. Every drop of water on Earth, at some point, joins this journey. The story begins in the coldest corners of the world, the Arctic and Antarctic seas. Here, the air is sharp, the water black and dense. Sea ice forms on the surface, pushing salt out into the surrounding water, making it even heavier. This dense, salty water sinks, plunging toward the seafloor like a slow avalanche. It's called deep water formation, and it's the beginning of the Great Descent. From here, that cold water begins its long, shadowed voyage through the world's oceans in the North Atlantic, where the Greenland Sea meets the Arctic. This process happens with incredible force. The sinking water there drives a deep current that flows southward, the North Atlantic deep water. It moves like a silent river, traveling beneath the Gulf Stream, which carries warm water northward along the surface. The two currents, one warm and light, one cold and heavy, are bound together in an endless loop, a global rhythm that balances heat and life across the planet. If you could see this from above, it would look like veins across a living body, glowing currents wrapping around continents, crossing the equator, weaving through the Pacific and Indian Oceans. The warm currents flow outward from the tropics, feeding storms, nurturing coral reefs, softening winter winds. The cold ones return from the poles, heavy with oxygen and nutrients, feeding plankton blooms that sustain entire food chains deep beneath the ocean where light can no longer reach. These cold currents move slowly, only a few centimeters per second, yet their power is unmatched. They carry carbon, heat, and minerals around the planet. When they rise again to the surface, sometimes centuries later, they bring with them the memory of the deep, the nutrients that fuel life in the open sea. You drift now through that hidden current, feeling its quiet strength. The water around you is clear, but almost motionless. Tiny particles, the snow of the ocean, drift slowly past, glowing faintly in your light. Somewhere above, a faint hum echoes, the sound of surface waves breaking far away. Here, in the deep current, the world feels ancient. Every movement is deliberate, patient, eternal, but the ocean's circulation is not unchanging. It breathes and shifts with time. During ice ages, the pattern of this circulation altered dramatically. The cold waters sank faster, driving more powerful deep currents. When the planet warmed again, the meltwater diluted the oceans, slowing the cycle. Some scientists believe that sudden collapses of this system have triggered abrupt climate shifts, events that changed the world within a single lifetime. Imagine that, an invisible current, thousands of meters below, deciding the fate of forests, storms, and civilizations. Did you know that the warmth of Europe's mild climate, the reason cities like London and Paris are livable, depends on this deep ocean engine. Without it, the North Atlantic would freeze, and the world's weather would fall into chaos. The thermaline circulation is the Earth's hidden thermostat, constantly redistributing energy from one hemisphere to the other. But there is tension in this vast balance. As the planet warms, ice sheets melt faster, releasing floods of fresh water into the sea. Fresh water, being lighter, doesn't sink like salt water does. It floats, forming a barrier that can weaken or even halt the deep water formation in the North Atlantic. Scientists are watching closely, because if this process slows too much, the great conveyor could stall. The world's climate would change dramatically, not in centuries, but in decades. For now, though, it endures, ancient and steady. The current continues to flow, moving through the deep Atlantic, curling beneath Africa, spilling into the Indian Ocean, and finally rising in the vast Pacific after 1,000 years of travel. When it surfaces again, it releases what it has carried: cold, oxygen-rich water filled with nutrients. This upwelling feeds the largest living populations on Earth. Plankton blooms so vast they can be seen from space. These microscopic drifters produce more oxygen than all the rainforests combined. They are the invisible lungs of the planet, breathing in rhythm with the sea. You can almost feel it now, the soft rise of bubbles, the invisible hum of circulation, like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. The sea is alive in every sense, its slow movements shaping the destiny of every creature. Every shore, every storm in the distance. A faint light glimmers, a school of lanternfish, caught in the slow drift of the current. They move together, thousands of tiny bodies pulsing in sync, creating waves of shimmering silver. They are riding the same invisible flow you feel, following ancient instincts written into their very bones. It's strange to think that every drop of water around you has been here before, perhaps many times. It may have once floated at the surface of a tropical lagoon, or frozen in an Arctic sheet, or fallen as rain upon distant mountains. And someday, long after this moment, it will rise again. Carrying the memory of this journey to another shore, you drift upward, slowly, the pressure easing, the light growing faintly brighter. Somewhere above, the ocean stirs with life, whales singing across hundreds of miles, currents shifting, plankton drifting like galaxies. The thermaline circulation continues beneath you, silent, constant, eternal, a reminder that even in stillness, the world is always moving, always breathing, and as you rise toward the gentle shimmer of the surface, you realize something. This vast ocean current is not just water moving through the world. It is life itself in motion. It is the whisper of the planet's memory, carrying the story of every drop, every wave, every heartbeat of the sea. Soon, you will surface where sunlight once again touches the water. But before you do, listen closely to the deep. Beneath the quiet hum of the world, you can still hear it, the slow, steady rhythm of Earth's living ocean, pulsing like a heartbeat beneath the waves. Now, let us follow that current to the edge of the underwater mountains, to the volcanic ridges that cut through the deep sea like scars of creation. There, fire and water meet, and new worlds are born in silence. The ocean's story is not over, it's only just beginning. Have you ever wondered what happens when fire meets water, when the coldest, darkest depths of the ocean collide with the molten heart of the earth? when the planet itself exhales heat through cracks in its crust, birthing life where none should exist. Tonight, we drift into that impossible realm, the world of hydrothermal vents, deep-sea volcanoes, and underwater ridges that burn beneath the waves. Picture yourself descending once again, past the soft twilight, down into the abyss. The water cools around you, heavy, unmoving, yet somewhere below, you sense warmth, a strange contradiction in this frozen deep. The seafloor ahead glows faintly, lines of shimmering light bending and warping the darkness. You are approaching the mid-ocean ridge, a mountain chain that circles the earth like a scar, stretching for more than 40,000 miles. Longer than any mountain range on land, it is here that the ocean floor is born. Plates of the Earth's crust pull apart, allowing magma from the mantle to surge upward as it meets the icy seawater. It cools instantly, forming black stone, basalt, and glass. The sound, though you cannot hear it, would be a deep, distant thunder, the pulse of the planet creating new skin. You drift closer, and the light grows brighter. Columns rise before you, towering like cathedrals made of stone and ash. They are hydrothermal vents, black smokers and white smokers, named for the plumes they release. Clouds of minerals and heat that curl upward like smoke from a sleeping dragon. The water that seeps into these vents is not ordinary seawater. It has traveled miles beneath the crust, heated to over 700 degrees Fahrenheit, becoming rich with metals, iron, copper, zinc, and gases like hydrogen sulfide. When it erupts back into the ocean, it meets the freezing water and cools rapidly, forming those dark, shimmering towers you see before you. And yet, amid the fire and poison, there is life. You move closer, and the darkness bursts into color. Around the base of the vents are colonies of creatures, so alien that when scientists first discovered them in 1977, they rewrote our understanding of life itself. Giant tube worms, taller than a human, sway gently in the current, their bright red plumes waving like underwater flowers. They have no mouths, no stomachs, no eyes. Instead, they host bacteria inside their bodies that use the vent's chemicals to create energy. These bacteria perform chemosynthesis, turning sulfur and minerals into nourishment. It is life born from stone and fire, not sunlight. Nearby, ghostly crabs scuttle over rocks dusted with metallic snow, their shells glowing faintly from bacteria clinging to their legs. Translucent shrimp gather in swarms, clustering close to the warmth. Some have tiny light-sensing spots on their backs, allowing them to navigate by the faint glow of the vents. Did you know that these ecosystems may be the closest thing we have to understanding how life began on Earth? Billions of years ago, before plants or animals, before even sunlight reached the oceans, there may have been vents like these, bubbling with minerals and heat, providing the perfect cradle for life's first spark. The same chemistry that sustains these creatures could have ignited the earliest forms of DNA. As you drift between the plumes, it feels like gliding through clouds. The water shimmers with distortion, an invisible dance of heat and cold. The mineral-rich smoke rises like incense from the planet's altar. You can almost feel the breath of the earth beneath you, slow, powerful, timeless. But not all vents are gentle. Some erupt with such violence that the surrounding ocean boils, creating underwater storms of heat and ash. These volcanic eruptions happen without warning, reshaping the landscape in seconds. New vents form, old ones collapse. The creatures that live here depend on constant rebirth. They thrive on instability. A sudden tremor ripples through the seafloor beneath you. Fine silt rises into the water, turning it opaque. For a moment, you see nothing, only the faint glow of minerals drifting like stars. Then, slowly, the dust clears, revealing a new structure where none existed before. A fresh vent, newly opened, its edges glow orange-red. Molten rock cooling as you watch. Within minutes, microbes have already begun to gather. Within hours, life will claim it entirely. It is strange to think that even destruction can create beauty, that the Earth's most violent moments give birth to its most resilient creatures. Down here, there is no death without renewal, no silence without song. The ocean remembers everything, every eruption, every birth, every molecule of heat and light that escapes from the planet's core. You look upward, but there is no up, only darkness. The vents rise like inverted cities, their chimneys spewing clouds that drift and mingle in the stillness. In their glow, shadows of fish pass by, eyeless, pale, shaped by evolution to move like whispers. They glide between plumes, vanishing as suddenly as they appeared. Did you know that these vent fields might also exist on other worlds? On moons like Europa and Enceladus, oceans lie hidden beneath thick layers of ice. Scientists believe similar hydrothermal vents may line their seafloors, fueled by internal heat. If life can thrive here, in our own ocean's darkness, then perhaps, somewhere far away, another ocean breathes quietly in the dark, alive in its own silence. For a moment, you close your eyes and listen. Beneath the weight of the ocean, beneath the hum of creation, there is a deeper rhythm, a heartbeat not of a creature, but of a planet. You realize that Earth itself is alive. Not just its forests or seas, but its bones, its fire, its breath. You hover there, surrounded by warmth in the middle of the coldest place imaginable, watching steam rise from the seafloor like the first breath of morning. It feels like witnessing the beginning of the world. And as you slowly rise, the vents fading below you, the darkness thickens once more. The glow dims, replaced by the slow return of stillness. The heat becomes a memory, the smoke a dream. The ocean closes over it all, silent, perfect, eternal. Now, as the currents lift you higher, a new sound reaches you, a deep, resonant hum that rolls through the water like distant thunder. It's not volcanoes this time, but something larger, older, and alive. We will follow that sound next. The haunting calls of the ocean's greatest singers. The whales whose voices travel across entire oceans, connecting worlds with melody and memory. But for now, rest in this warmth, in this quiet truth. Even in the deepest cold, even in eternal darkness, life burns on, soft and unyielding, like a single ember in an endless sea.